It is the Savage Nation, Rock and Roll Friday. What a horrible day it is. It gets worse by the day. Each day, this administration brings America closer to the brink. One moronic professor after another, destroying America's dignity and past, let alone our safety. Now, I'm going to talk about the horrible, horrible story of illegal aliens bringing a deadly new flu strain into the United States of America. Make no mistake about it. Illegal aliens are carriers of the new strain of human swine avian flu from Mexico. Make no mistake about it, our incompetence at the CDC will hide this from you. Make no mistake about it, this is a disaster. Now, if you thought Teresa was bad, wait until you get human swine avian flu from Mexico. This is the latest zoonotic infection, and I will explain to you, my listeners, on the Savage Nation, what a zoonotic infection is. This is a never-before-seen mixture of swine, human, and avian viruses. It is an influenza A virus. It is real. It is real. It's a knockout punch. The question to me is, there's only one question in my mind, which is this. Is this a terrorist attack? Did these demonic terrorists make a new form of influenza A virus never before seen, which is a mixture of human, swine, and avian viruses mixed together? I don't know. We don't have enough information. But what you do learn today on this program, and I suggest you listen very carefully, you're not going to learn on any other talk show or television show in America. And that is because I have an actual Ph.D. in epidemiology, human nutrition, and medical anthropology from the University of California at Berkeley. Does that make me the world's leading virologist? Not at all. But it certainly makes me aware of what's going on. And I will remind you that in 1986, I published a book called Maximum Immunity, which was translated into 16 languages. So just understand that I'm not a disc jockey with a golf club. This new influenza A virus is potentially fatal. I will tell you that right now. There should be no trade and no travel between Mexico and the U.S. If we lived in saner times, the borders would be closed immediately. We wouldn't worry about money. We wouldn't worry about making sure that the heroin addicts get their fixes tomorrow. We wouldn't worry about the fact that stockbrokers in New York won't get their snow tomorrow. What we'd be worried about is the public health. But since we no longer have a public health department in America, since the CDC has long been compromised and has become anything but a public health agency, more like there's no longer a public health agency. Public safety is the last thing on its agenda. The most important thing is the gay agenda and making certain that nobody talks about AIDS. But the CDC now is saying it's too late to contain. They're lying through their rotten skirts. It is never too late to contain an epidemic. Never. If you study the history of epidemics and you know the source of an epidemic, the first thing you do is you cut off any travel to that source of the epidemic. You don't say it's too late to contain it. That makes no sense logically or medically. But this is an example of the broken down America that we're living in. This is a very dangerous infection, and as I say, it is a zoonotic infection. I want to tell you that I began in talk radio in 1994 by creating a radio tape that was in part based upon a book that would not be published by anyone in New York entitled Immigrants and Epidemics. I had at that time had 18 books published, mainly in the health field. My next book would be Immigrants and Epidemics. I was co-authoring it with a leading scientist from University of California at Berkeley. Nobody would touch it. The publisher said to me, it's too hot to handle, it's too political. It violates all of the rules about what we're allowed to say about immigrants. Ladies and gentlemen, I am warning you. There is a risk of this pandemic spreading across America. Make no mistake about it. It is coming from Mexico. What is interesting to me is that Mexico has not suffered a serious flu epidemic before, which leads me to ask something that the dingbat running Homeland Security, who is attacking U.S. Marines, returning soldiers, anti-abortion activists, and anti-immigrant activists, why don't you do your job, Napolitano, you bum you? And why don't you ask yourself, you dumb fool you, could this be a terrorist attack through Mexico? Could our dear friends in the radical Islamic countries have concocted this virus and planted it in Mexico, knowing that you, Janet Napolitano, would do nothing to stop the flow of human traffic from Mexico, and they are a perfect mules for bringing this virus into America. But you wouldn't think that way, would you? Because you are incapable of protecting America's homeland, Napolitano. Now, let me explain what a zoonotic infection is. Now, they say that it's a mixture between a pig virus and a human virus, a swine and human virus. There's also an element of the avian flu in here. Now, I could understand how a swine flu virus could jump to the human being. I could see how that could happen. Let me review for you before what a zoonotic infection is. It is said that the HIV virus originated in the green monkeys of West Africa. And in some way, the simian virus that was found in the green monkeys found its way into human beings. I'll let you use your imagination as to how that may have happened. You can take the benign approach or the disgusting approach on that one. You can assume either the humans in that region ate uncooked monkey flesh, or you can assume that they had sexual relations with some of these creatures, and in so doing, the virus jumped from the animal world into the human world. Now, there's a great history of this. The syphilis pandemic that hit the world a long time ago was said to have occurred when the Spanish conquistadors had sexual intercourse with llamas in South America. And in so doing, they then brought this then unknown illness back to Spain, which then spread throughout Europe, through Spain and Europe. That was a result of intercourse between the Spanish conquistadors, who, when they were not busy slaughtering the local natives, apparently were chasing the llamas around the pampas. And when they caught them, they didn't just domesticate them, if you get the drift of the statement. But as a result of this despicable behavior, which the Bible warns us against, because the Bible is a very intelligent health book. It has many healthful messages in it, and it warns you against having sex with animals. It warns you against having sex between man and man. It warns you about having sex between woman and woman. It warns you about many, many things, the Bible, and it was not written by a bunch of old fools. It was written by very wise men of the Bible. But we'll let that go for the moment. We're teaching you for the moment, or explaining to you, a little bit about what a zoonotic infection is. And now let's come point blank to today. We see a flu in Mexico spreading into the United States of America that is a mixture of human, swine, and avian flus. We don't know how it got there. It's a never-before-seen mixture of the swine, human, and avian viruses. It's an influenza A virus, but we don't know whether it was manufactured in a laboratory by one of our dear friends in the Middle East, or let us say it just somehow mutated in Mexico. But in either case, if we had a Center for Disease Control, CDC means Centers for Disease Control, not Centers for Disease Propaganda. It is not the CDP, but that's what it has become. It is an incompetent group of morons. The same type of idiots that run Homeland Security run the CDC. In other words, everything they should be doing, they're not doing. They should slam an iron curtain down on the border with Mexico, stop all trade immediately, or this pandemic is liable to spread right into your kindergarten. I'll be right back.
Savage.